For 7 years, they held their noses when he walked by. The garbage collector, dirty, smelly, invisible. But when the Michelin star restaurant caught fire and a $50,000 wedding was about to be canceled, the garbage man walked into the kitchen and cooked the greatest meal New York had ever tasted. Marcus Chen, former head chef, Cirque, 12 years, Michelin 2-star, James Beard, finalist. The man they ignored, he saved 40 lives, one dish at a time. This is his story. Plus, one dish at a time. Part 1, The Invisible Man. March 2024, New York City. Every morning at 4 a.m., Marcus Chen started his route. 59 years old, gray hair, pulled back in a ponytail, weathered hands, scarred from years of work, navy blue sanitation uniform, orange safety vest, and a garbage truck that smelled like everything people threw away. He moved through the streets, silent, efficient, invisible. People walked past him, holding their noses, turning away. Garbage man. God, that smell. Don't get too close. Marcus never reacted. He just kept working, lifting bags, emptying bins, disappearing into the background of everyone's lives. But his hands, when Marcus lifted a trash bag, his hands moved differently. Fingers positioned with precision, wrists turning at exact angles, grip controlled, chef's hands, muscle memory from 20 years in kitchens. But nobody noticed. Wrist took him past the finest restaurants in Manhattan. Le Bernardin, per se, 11 Madison Park. He'd empty their dumpsters, filled with food waste, truffles, caviar, Wagyu beef, trimmed and discarded. And sometimes, Marcus would pause, look at the waste, and remember. Madison Park, Part 2, The Fire. March 15, 2024, 2:47 p.m. Marcus was halfway through his afternoon route when he heard it. Sirens, fire trucks, screaming down Fifth Avenue. He turned the corner and saw smoke pouring from Maison Dubois, a new French restaurant, 6 months old, Michelin, 1 star, trying desperately to earn a second. Madison tone. Marcus pulled over, watched firefighters rushing in and out. The chef, Jean-Pierre Moreau, standing on the sidewalk, hands in his hair, face pale. No. Madison tone. Marcus approached quietly. Chef, what happened? Jean-Pierre looked at him, at the garbage collector, and dismissed him immediately. Electrical fire. Kitchen is destroyed, completely unusable. I'm sorry. Do you know what tonight is? Marcus shook his head. Tonight is the Castellano wedding. 40 guests, 7-course tasting menu, $50,000 already paid, 6 months of planning. And now, he gestured at the smoking building, gone. Madison tone. Marcus hesitated, then spoke quietly. What if someone else cooked? Jean-Pierre laughed bitterly. Someone else? Do you know how many reservations we had to turn down to book this wedding? Do you know the level of cuisine expected? He looked at Marcus, at the dirty uniform, the garbage truck. No offense, but I need a chef. Not. He trailed off. Marcus finished for him. Not a garbage man. I didn't mean. It's fine, Marcus said softly. He turned to walk away, then stopped. Chef Moreau. Yes? What's the menu? Jean-Pierre blinked. Why would you? Please, humor me. Jean-Pierre sighed. Amuse-bouche, scallop crudo, truffle risotto, duck confit, sorbet intermezzo, beef Wellington, chocolate soufflé. Marcus closed his eyes. Scallops, Georgia Bank or Maine? Jean-Pierre stared. What? The scallops? Where are they from? Georgia Bank. Why does that? And the truffle? Black or white? Black. Perigord. But the duck? Moulard or Pekin? Jean-Pierre's mouth fell open. How do you know these terms? A worn leather wallet. From inside, a card, faded, creased. He handed it to Jean-Pierre. The chef read it aloud. Marcus Chen, Cirque, executive head chef, 2012. Silence. You're a chef? Was Marcus said quietly. Why are you collecting garbage? Marcus looked at the smoking restaurant. Long story, but right now, you need a kitchen, and I need to cook again. 3:15 p.m., 4 hours until wedding. Jean-Pierre made calls. Frantic, desperate. The restaurant next door, Bellinati, Italian place, offered their kitchen. But the owner said, "We close at 5. You have until 7:30. Then we open for dinner service. 4 hours to prepare a 7-course meal for 40 people." Jean-Pierre looked at Marcus. "Can you do this?" Marcus rolled up his sleeves. "Get me a knife and stay out of my way." Mein Klai. Jean-Pierre's sous chefs arrived. 3 of them, young, talented. They stared at Marcus, at the garbage collector, standing at the prep station. "Who's he?" one whispered. "That," Jean-Pierre said quietly, "is Marcus Chen. Le Cirque, 12 years, Michelin 2-star. The sous chefs froze. "Marcus Chen. I thought he was dead. I thought he was." Picked up a knife, an 8-inch chef's knife. He tested the weight, the balance, then smiled, "Just barely. Let's cook." Mein Klai. "Yo, I thought he was." 3:30 p.m. 3.5 hours. Marcus moved through the kitchen like water. Fluid, precise, effortless. "You," he pointed to a sous chef. "Mise en place, scallops, brunoise the shallots, 1 millimeter, exactly 1 millimeter." "You," to another. "Risotto, arborio rice, toast it first, 30 seconds. Listen for the sound. When it clicks, it's ready." "You," to the third. "Duck, confit, low and slow, 75 degrees Celsius, not 74, not 76, 75. Minint winsaup, lay, lich, klot to be, 9 kliter, minint late, to another. "Risotto, arborio rice, toast it first, 30 seconds. "Knife skills like that," one whispered. "Minint late, mint late, minint late. Meat for a Marcus oaf. Ni face, gebidis minteraba. Faltier, lame from 3 hours." Marcus worked. Leishmest, resolvers. Please mesmerized. Lindor abisprowers. Montele siri here's married. Nindor. Trudgy nice sly clace. Likas like this. Murista forave, it mesmerized. "I've never seen." They'd cooked. Together. At home. In restaurants. Partners. In the kitchen. In life. 120th roaf. But then. Cancer. 2011. Ovarian. Stage 4. 6 months. From diagnosis to death. Marcus had tried to keep cooking at Le Cirque, but every dish reminded him of her. Every smell. Every taste. Nisporaving. Murthentalpa. Never smell. Neverist. Umbalo. This man is Westor. The Yahweh. Lingovimus. To Dordurbles of Umvor. Lindis precies. Udowli Thorik. Lingan Palman Gleist. One Zolzum. Vidulas Nosas the La. Their bowls is mint spice birthing. Lidis Melsporth. Thieves threes of dolls. The Mauwine. Nigelian Telazos Thief Dopthim Fox. Sadijanus Espresso was fights his Barzalosis Mispor. Tories the Mo is my stuff. Eis Velschen Sofi stuff to find also so. And Nenis of Vampolos. Benefis Bars and Idrons and Spies. Kim Georgians and then in Salt Pores. The Fotul also my bath. The cards on cooking again. And it felt like coming home. And like drowning. At the same time. So perfectly spelledy. Liesel Belvedaf. 2 hours 15 minutes. The scallops were perfect. Seared. Golden brown. Translucent. In the center, Marcus plated 1 microgreens, arranged with tweezers, a dot of cauliflower puree, 3 drops of aged balsamic, RT. Vispors file, with med short, he couldn't finish. Liesel Belvedaf. 5:30 minutes, 1 hour 30 minutes. The risotto was done. Creamy, al dente. Marcus stirred in butter, parmesan, white truffle oil. The smell filled the kitchen. Intoxicating. One sous chef started crying. "Why are you crying?" Another asked. "I don't know. It smells like love." V Sportloff. 6:15 Cav. 45 minutes. The beef Wellington came out of the oven. Perfect. Golden puff pastry. Medium rare beef inside. Duxelle. Mushroom paste. Coating the meat. Marcus sliced it. The knife gliding through. Pink. All the way through. Not a single gray edge. Vien Pierre stared. "How did you time that?" Marcus tapped his temple. 20 years. You don't forget. Vien Pierre. Vien Pierre. Vien Pierre. Furaf. 6:15 minutes. The toclet soufflé was in the oven, rising. "I know," Vien Pierre said. "I'm a chef too." Marcus smiled. "Then you know. The last 15 minutes are the hardest." Vien Pierre. 15 minutes are the hardest. Vien Pierre. Vien Pierre. A presence behind him. 15 minutes are the hardest. 15 minutes. 15 minutes are the hardest. Flay was in the oven, rising, standing by the oven, smiling. Her chef's whites, pristine. Her eyes, warm. "You're doing it, Amor," she whispered. "You're cooking again." Vien Pierre. Vien Pierre. Vien Pierre. Varka. But the kitchen felt warmer. 7 p.m. 0 hour. The guests arrived. 40 people, dressed in tuxedos and gowns. The bride, Sarah Castellano, 28 years old, was terrified. "Is there actually going to be food?" she whispered to her father. I don't know, sweetheart, Jean-Pierre said. Something about a miracle. Mini Scother light no knower. The first course was served. Amuse-bouche, a single scallop on a white plate. Simple, elegant. The guests hesitated, then tasted. Silence. Complete silence. Then, oh my God, this is incredible. I've eaten at Le Bernardin. This is better. Mini Scother. Course after course, each one more beautiful than the last. The risotto? I'm crying. Why am I crying? The duck? This is poetry. The beef Wellington. I'm never eating beef anywhere else again. Mini Scother soft. Mini Scother soft. Brought it out in his garbage collector uniform, still dirty, still smelling faintly of trash. The guests stared. Who is he? Someone whispered. Mini Scother soft. The bride's father stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is the reason we're eating tonight. This morning, he was collecting our garbage. Tonight, he cooked the greatest meal of our lives. His name is Marcus Chen, and he is a master. Standing ovation. Applause. Tears. The bride ran to Marcus, hugged him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Marcus smiled. For the first time in 7 years, a real smile. It was my honor. Part 4. The reveal. The food critic, Amanda Price, had been there as a guest. She worked for the New York Times. The next morning, her article went viral. Rawan, I ate the greatest meal of my life from a garbage collector. Last night, I attended the Castellano wedding at Maison Dubois. The restaurant had burned. The kitchen was destroyed. And yet, I ate food that surpassed Noma, that rivaled El Bulli, that made me weep. Who cooked it? A man named Marcus Chen. A man who hours earlier had been collecting trash on Fifth Avenue. But Marcus Chen is not just a garbage collector. He is Marcus Chen. The Marcus Chen, Le Cirque's legendary head chef, Michelin 2-star, the man who disappeared in 2012. And last night, he came back and reminded us all that genius can be found anywhere, even in the trash. Row, the Burke at Ekrosnosti. The article was shared 10 million times. Marcus couldn't leave his apartment. News crews outside his door. Le Cirque called. Marcus, please, come back. We need you. But Marcus said no. Row, Part 5, Marie's Kitchen. 6 months later, September 2024, Marcus stood in front of a small building in the Bronx, a former warehouse. He'd bought it with money he'd saved for 7 years from collecting garbage. And now it was Marie's Kitchen. Row, a restaurant. No, a free kitchen for the homeless, for the hungry, for anyone who needed a meal. Every day, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Marcus cooked Michelin-level food for free. Everyone, he said, deserves to eat beautifully. Row, he trained 15 people, formerly homeless, taught them to cook, gave them jobs, purpose. Cooking, Marcus told them, saved my life. When I lost Marie, I lost myself. But last night, at that wedding, I found something, not her. I'll never have her back, but meaning. And now, I want to give that to you. 2 years later, Michelin inspectors visited Marie's Kitchen. They couldn't give it a star. It wasn't a traditional restaurant, but they gave it something else. Michelin plate, recognition for good food, rare for a charity kitchen. And Marcus, he still collected garbage 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Why? People asked. Marcus smiled, because it keeps me humble and reminds me that everyone has a story. You just have to stop and listen. Nader Laujor. 3 years after the wedding, Sarah Castellano returned to Marie's Kitchen with her husband and a baby. Mr. Chen, she said, we named her Marie after your wife because you taught us that love never really dies. It just transforms into something that feeds the world. Nader, Marcus, held the baby and cried. Marie would have loved this, he whispered. And somewhere in that kitchen, filled with the smell of garlic and fresh bread, he felt her, still cooking, still loving, still there. Because Marcus Chen learned the truth. You can lose everything, your partner, your career, your identity. But if you find just one reason to come back, to create, to serve, to cook, then you haven't really lost. You've just transformed from a chef to a garbage collector and back to something even greater. A chef who feeds souls, not just stomachs, not a carn. This, the garbage collector, who was a Michelin chef, the man who cooked his way back to life, one dish at a time.